My cheating ex called me 2.5 years later. My 31M ex-girlfriend 29F found me and wanted to hang out, but I just ignored her after she broke my heart. Backstory: in 2015 I met this woman at college, let's call her Casey. We had so many things in common and we instantly got close. She asked me out and it was a wonderful relationship, or so I thought. We had dreams together, sent X-rated pics once in a while, we do a lot of stuff together, not S-time yet. In 2019, Christmas time, I was going to propose to her after I give her parents and siblings gifts. I even gave her mom, who hates me, a gift. Casey works at the hospital, so she'll get out work later, or so I thought. 5 p.m. she didn't come to her parents' place, but I came and decided to give everyone gifts. When I give her younger sister 20F, let's call her Sherry, a laptop, she cries and hug me, because she always wanted one for school. Casey's father a new barbecue grill. Moments later, Sherry told me I couldn't contain it anymore and cried harder. I asked what's the matter. She immediately grabbed me to her room and her father came along as well. Sherry kept saying I'm sorry so many times. I was confused on why. She then showed me a pregnancy test and told me that it belongs to Casey. I completely lost it, and wanted to know why and how long was the affair. Sherry informed me that the affair happened in the beginning of 2019. While I was working a lot at my factory job, she goes to see him. Makes matters worse is that Casey's mom was the one who showed the AP to Casey. Apparently in the month of November, Casey found out she's pregnant and she begged Sherry not to tell anyone after Sherry found the test. When she told me everything, my world came crashing down and I decided to leave. But before I left, I thanked Sherry and her father, let's call him Max. Max apologized and said that if I leave he would completely understand. We shook hands and I said thank you. I just looked at Casey's mom and I then left my ex's house, just drove away, and didn't look back. Max and Sherry got furious with Casey's mom, let's call her Jane. Around 7 p.m. Christmas time, I informed my family on what happened and they all comfort me. 11 p.m., my phone began blowing up with phone calls and text messages of my ex saying she can explain. I didn't answer back. I changed my number, deleted my social media, and changed my email. As much as I want closure, I didn't want to see her face. Fast forward to mid of 2020, one of my friends informed me that the AP who got Casey pregnant ran away after he found out he's the father karma. And they're looking for him. I simply said who cares. Fast forward to last month, LC, a number I never seen before, I answered and it was my ex. My ex begged me to talk her and possibly give her a chance at my favorite restaurant. I responded, why should I after you did what you did? She rambled on and I just ignored her because I don't want to go through the same pain that she had put me through. Casey began gaslighting me, and her friends and her mom call me a coward for not seeing her again. I told Jane, you have the audacity to say that after what you've done. She rambled on. I just hanged up and blocked Jane and my ex's number. I informed her friends what happened and they left me alone. Redditor's reactions update after. Redditor 1, why would ever want to deal with a mill that lies and a ex-GF that will be never trustworthy? Let your ex suffer the consequences of her actions. Ghost her and anyone with her. Op answer, yeah, I just left and didn't look back and moved forward. She went from lovely couple to single mom. Also my sisters I got 4 wanted to beat her up. I told them she not worth it. Redditor 2, I always laugh at the I can explain line. That is the precursor to gaslighting, and getting told how it is your fault they have no morals. Redditor 3, think about this, if the mill helped Casey cheat so easily, what do you think she is doing behind Max's back? God only knows how many times Jane has cheated on Max. Update. My ex found me, she's a wreck. I got closure, but I feel it wasn't worth it. It's been nearly 3 months since I post my story and apparently she found me. Of all days, Mother's Day, which was last week Sunday. My mom wanna go to Red Lobster since she loves seafood. One of my sisters, really half sister, but my sister came along as well, let's call her Raven. We were about to leave, all of a sudden I ran into my ex's sister Sherry and the Wicked Witch of the West Jane in Red Lobster. Sherry was in total shock in seeing me, and I was hoping Casey isn't there with her, and thankfully she wasn't. Jane looked at me with disgust and Raven in disbelief. Jane was in total shock at seeing Raven for some reason, not sure why. Wait until later. I was about to explode until the moment I looked at my mom and Raven, because they both wanted to pound Jane into the ground for what she did to me. So I had to calm both of them down. Sherry then begged me to talk to her. After a heated argument involving my mom, Jane and my sister, Raven then suggested that if I want to talk to Sherry, both of you talk alone. We won't be involved, and not the snake BTCH Jane. We talked for a bit and asked me how have I been, and says how she misses me and wished that I didn't leave. She told me that my ex was miserable when I left, and I responded that not my problem. I then asked how was school treating you. Sherry cried and said that Casey broke the laptop I gave her for Christmas a week after I left and ghosted her. I asked before I go, why does your mom hate me? I'm curious. Sherry then said it because she saw me with another woman, and it was that same woman that they both saw just now. Little did Jane know it was my sister. I told Sherry that Casey's actions are wasted. The warranty is still available until November 2022. Sherry literally danced for joy and she said I immediately get the laptop after dinner. We said goodbye, we hugged and left. The next day I waited. Brand Smart work was slow. I seen Sherry, and to my surprise Max came along. No lie, I had a smile on my face. We talked. Max loved the grill I gave and he still apologized, but I told him there's nothing you can do. After the laptop was resolved and chat for nearly an hour, they insisted on talking for a while, not sure why. I told them it was good seeing them. But Max insisted on taking me to a restaurant I never been to, and he paid for everything as a thank you for giving Sherry another laptop, a better one. Sherry responded, I'm sorry about this, I hope you forgive me. Please don't be upset. Lo and behold, my ex came and she looked in worse shape than I imagined. She looked worse than a surgery gone wrong. She tried to hug me, I just stick my hand out and asked what the hell you want. Casey apologized and begged me to take her back, saying it was a mistake, blah blah, cheater's excuse. I responded, you cheated on me for nearly a year when I worked my ass off for us, and this is how you repay me. She realized that mistake and says that it was Jane's fault, and I said you went along with it. You could have said I'm not happy with you anymore, but you didn't. It's not my problem anymore, I moved on and you did too for nearly a year. And the fact you gaslight me, try to put the baby on me when we never had sex. The hell. And now, the AP left you and he's on child support. Casey told me that her son now 1 year old and needs a father. I told her good luck with that. She asks why am I being so mean. I said you're the reason for this. I wanted kids, I nearly got a house for us, family stuff, and you threw all that away. Casey said that I threw it away because she told me Jane saw me with another woman and she described what she looked like. I laughed and called Sherry to let her know who she seen. Sherry explained everything to my ex. Casey was crying really hard and that she realized all this time I was faithful and she wished she never listened to Jane and says I hate her for this. Casey begged for another chance, saying we will fix everything and we'll do anything, just take me back. I simply just told Casey, Max and Sherry wish you all the best, and walked out. I told my family why I was out a bit long and they immediately were proud of me for not taking her back. My dad laughed and said Jane wanted you gone son and found a reason, a stupid one at that. You'll do better on the next woman. So yeah, thank you guys for everything. I didn't think I would run into her again. Even though I got closure, it wasn't worth it to see the two women who broke me. Redditors' reactions, story 2 after. Redditor 1, so if I read this and your original post right, Jane saw you with half-sister Raven and decided you were cheating as she had no idea that Raven was your sister. At least that's their story and they are sticking to it. Jane, not liking you and therefore not being keen on her daughter dating you anyway, used that incident to persuade your then GF to date this other guy. When dating this other guy and you at the same time, she wouldn't play hide the sausage with you, but did so with other guy. When the situation blew up in her face and it turned out she was up the duff, rather than come clean she was going to trap you with Jane colluding. Except you being the nice guy and buying great presses for Max and sister that decided to tell you the truth. Do you think that when you dropped GF she was going to say that she thought you weren't interested as you two weren't shagging and she had been told by her mum you were seeing someone else? And was the lack of Percy filth between you and Shagnasty your choice or hers? Redditor 2, she thought you were cheating so instead of talking to you she cheats for a year. She's lying. She was at least thinking of cheating before then and used it to justify her actions. Redditor follow-up, yeah, absolutely right. Why she purposely did not confront Op then was BC she was a willy-freely going cheating on Op with her mum's blessing, with a lame excuse Op cheated her first. On hindsight she should have confronted if Shekel was truthful. Redditor 3, awesome, I hope you find someone worthy of your love, respect and loyalty and she returns it. Story 2, GF cheated early in relationship, apologized and we decided to move past it. However, I 24 meters met my G21F of 3 years on a dating app during college. We've been LDR 2 of the 3 years due to COVID and me graduating before her. Multiple incidents where her words have not matched action are mentioned below chronologically. First incident, 3 months into the relationship, we spent the night together for the first time. The very next day she went to a college party, got blackout drunk and lost her phone in the process. I didn't hear from her properly for a week. When she finally calls, she's crying and says that her peers saw her making out with someone while she drunk. She doesn't remember any of it. I was taken aback and immediately consoled her, asked for space to think. She blamed it on the alcohol and the environment. All her peers were turning against her because of this drama. She was in a very rough place, so I decided to forgive her. Second incident, 3 months after this incident, I was at her college fest. We were drinking at the college bar, same bar first incident occurred. Out of the blue a guy approached me, and was beginning to introduce himself and proceeded to apologize. I didn't know who he was. Then I noticed my GF tearing up and freaking out. I put it together in my head, assured her that it was him who approached me and not the other way around, and I just wanted to hear him out. She continued freaking out and ultimately her best friend noticed this and dragged me away from the guy. I was left consoling her on the way back. After this we had multiple conversations about this topic. She asked for my feelings and boundaries. I told her that specific bar makes me uncomfortable. She then assured me that she wouldn't go there again. She did end up going 3 times after that. Third incident, we were at the same fest 2 years later. I'm not one for huge crowds or concerts. She enjoys dancing in such settings. There was a concert and we were trying to look for her friends, but unfortunately we couldn't find them. I tried to encourage her to dance by dancing myself. But she seemed out of it. We went to a secluded spot then and were making out. Out of the blue she says I'd much rather be in the crowd with my friends rather than here. I was taken aback by this, and when I inquired where this is coming from she said it's just your insecurities acting up. I was heartbroken. I excused myself and left. Now 3 years in, she's going to move to my city for work. This is the first time we'll be actively living in the same place for an extended period of time. Our relationship is so shaky, we have trust and communication issues. I still love her. Is there any way at all to make this work? Redditor's reactions, story 3 after. Redditor 1, honestly I think you are better off cutting ties. Chances are she has cheated more than once. For the guy to come apologize out of nowhere, but no context. Was this the making out? Or was he apologizing for another incident that you don't know about? And she was freaking out 3 months later. Plus her remark from the third incident, sounds like she realizes you are a pushover. I'd leave. Redditor 2, dude, you already know the answer. Also she's using alcohol as an excuse. I've been drunk, but alcohol doesn't make you want to cheat if you truly respect your partner. Don't give cheaters a second chance because 9 times out of 10 they will do it again. You deserve better. Redditor 3, no, there isn't a way to make this work. Redditor 4, it sounds like you have, and are, being manipulated. What about this relationship makes you want to stick it out? You're a young guy. Why don't you think you can do better than some girl that has likely cheated on you several times? You haven't given us any indication of any good qualities this person has. She is also very young and probably wants to play the field, which is fine, but you don't have to stick by her while she does it if that's not the type of relationship you're comfortable with. And I say this to you as a polyamorous person who has been in a relationship for nearly 20 years, and in another steady relationship for almost 2. If you aren't comfortable with her going outside of your relationship, you need to end it. She may not stop cheating on you even when she's in the same city, and you need to come to terms with that. Story 3, I can't recover, I can't escape. I adored my wife for the 20 years we were together. She fell out of love with me and had a secret affair with a man who slid into her DMs. I've moved out and we're getting a divorce, which is what she wants. The man moved into our home almost as soon as I was gone, and she very rapidly integrated him into the kids' lives as a stepfather figure. I have half custody, so of course I see the kids all the time. I can't bear that this man is in their lives. I'm so hurt, so sad, and so lonely. I'm 43 years old and I don't know what to do. I can't get away from this pain I'm feeling, he is always there. She has said she wants to normalize things. I'm so devastated. She has never shown any regret or remorse. The hurting never stops. Any advice would be deeply appreciated. Redditor's reactions, story 4 after. Redditor 1, don't normalize anything. Only talk about kids' needs and ignore everything else. Redditor follow-up, this is great advice. I've had a similar situation as Op, and my ex constantly tries to throw drama personal acid my way. It's hard to refrain from responding to the BLL acid, but it's 100% needed for your mental health. Focus on what you can control. Make sure your kids always feel comfortable to communicate with you. I don't trust her new partner for Emmit. Redditor 2, tell her things will never be normal. She cheated and is trying to make a life with the guy she cheated with. She can act like she's done nothing wrong, but the rest of the world will see her for what she is. She's not the woman you married, and now she's only the mother of your children. Treat her like that. Only communicate about the children, don't even be friendly with her. The worst thing you can do for yourself is somehow make it easier for her. Screw that. This shouldn't be easy at all. Make sure it's difficult. Redditor 3, first off, you don't have to do it for her. You don't have to be happy for them, you just need to co-parent. You don't have to lie to your kids to protect her, your kids deserve honesty. Redditor follow-up, unfortunately it seems you do have to lie to your children. I've had the social workers stop me from seeing my children because I told them the truth about their mother cheating, and that's why I'm no longer at home with them. And Jay only told them after my ex had told my children Daddy has left because he has something wrong in his head, not the fact she had multiple affairs, and the social workers don't give a shit about anything she has done. Story 4, stunned and numb. How did this happen? So I am that guy that everyone is jealous of, saying they cannot believe what an amazing marriage I have after 25 years. I am the guy who advises others about infidelity in their marriage. I am the guy that knows my wife will never cheat on me, so I can be free and safe in all things in my marriage. I am the guy whose wife tells me that her divorced friends say all the time that they are jealous of how well I treat her and that she better not mess this up. Somehow I am now the guy that discovered today that my wife had an affair last year. I confronted her. She at first said it was an emotional affair. I pressed, and 10 minutes later she almost had time and did fool around with him. 30 minutes later they had time once, but it was awful. Every time she swore on our kids, our dogs, on anything and everything, that there was nothing more. An hour later it was they had time 3 times, but that's really the end, and she is now finally telling the truth. The drip, drip, drip of information. I never thought it would be me in this position. Update as we move a few days past D-Day and figure out the future. So more news and context. Last year my wife of 25 years cheated on me. It went on for about 2 months. She slept with him weekly when she went out on the weekends. I found out 4 days ago and she dripped info for a day. Then she came clean. I have had 2 therapy sessions and we have talked a great deal. It was ugly at first and I contacted a divorce lawyer. About 24 hours in she changed. It became all about how I felt and what did I want. It became about listening to me and how she could help me. The very important context is that my wife was diagnosed as bipolar 2 years ago when suicidal. I have been a caregiver quite a bit, but the worst for our relationship was when she became manic, for the first time, last spring. She was drinking very heavily and running away from being a wife and mother. Absolutely nothing like anything she had done before. She up to then was an amazing wife and mother. Over the spring she became properly medicated and slowly came back to be herself as we had known her before, for 25 years. My therapist asked me to be truthful and answer if I think she would have ever cheated had she not been manic. I said no. My wife has taken full responsibility but has also said that was not me. She takes her medicine, and does what is needed to stay healthy, which I know is hard considering her disease. She had another short manic episode this spring, but she was out of control for less than a day and I do not believe a man was involved in any way. I gave her a get out of jail free discussion. She could say anything that had happened and I would not leave if she was truthful. But if I find out in the future she left anything out, the marriage will be over. She told me that when manic and in Vegas last year she may have kissed a guy. She doesn't remember as she was so drunk, but a friend said she thought it happened. That was it. Nothing more, well, except the 2-month affair, of course. She told me that a couple of months ago she ran into the guy and they talked. They had a drink together and talked, and my wife said they would never see each other again. She gave him a hug and walked away and has never contacted him in any way and does not have any desire to. Lastly, we just moved a long way away for work. New house and everything. Not sure if it matters, but I think it adds security. In the end, I do not believe it would have happened if she had not been manic and unmedicated. So I am not at this point going to throw away 25 great years together before D-Day. Why it hurts so much. But I am trying. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, can you be manic every weekend for 2 months? That seems convenient. She saw him every weekend. When they went to the bar for closure they hugged. That shows emotional bond. She may be bipolar, but she also knew what she was doing as well. Redditor follow-up, I can absolutely confirm that individuals suffering from BPD that are improperly medicated can, and often do, have manic or depressed episodes lasting several weeks. They will also rapid cycle through their emotional state, and go right back into another long-term episode. From what I understand, bipolars are perfectly aware of what they're saying and or doing. They just have little to no control over it when triggered. Redditor 2, I don't know enough about this disease to say if you should really point with your finger at it for the reason of what she did or not. But I have to say that it wonders me that her go-to reaction to a manic episode is to cheat on you. Be it during the one in her affair or the one in Vegas. Edit, the manic episode at her affair lasted 2 months. Seriously? You don't think that during this time the manic episode ended from time to time and she still went back to her lover? But there are other things that need to be addressed as well, if you want to stay with her. She met with her lover afterwards and went to drinks with him. She deceived you there again. Going to drinks with him, even if it was for closure, was more important than to respect you and ignore the guy. That is something she needs to work out. She doesn't respect you like you respected her. In that context, I would also ask her if she ever got tested for STDs during or after her affair. I somehow doubt that. Your wife puts herself way above you and your marriage. That is something she needs to work on. Next problem, her alcohol intake. In your post, alcohol is mentioned way too often. That needs to stop right away. No more alcohol for her, ever. Bipolar is a disease that can affect her state of mind and her mood, that much I know. Guess what else does that? Alcohol. I doubt that it is a good idea to drink any alcohol for people who are bipolar. Then the last question is one that I have directly for you, and one that I think your therapist missed to ask. When they asked you if you think that your wife would have cheated if she wasn't manic, you answered no. Now take this thought a step further. If a manic episode is the reason she cheats on you, which she did in every episode she had until now, then are you willing to accept that she will do it again when her next manic episode hits her? Because that will happen. One day she will be manic again. If you are lucky, then it is just for a short time. If you are lucky, I wish you all the best on your way forward. Redditor follow-up, hit the nail on the head. On Reddit, BPD seems to have become a convenient license to stray. WS caught cheating, shows BPD ID, BS forgives instantly. Also, the therapist with that question seems to green flagged affair and kind of indirectly told BP to forgive. Which again raises question for these therapists as to what exactly their job is, to show true picture to BS or to anyhow convince them for reconciliation. Lastly, OP believes physical distance from AP equals safety. Did affair ended only cause WW knew they were moving? In today's time, emotional affairs can happen with someone in Antarctica living in an igloo. Redditor 3, a close family member suffered from the same and engaged in a lot of unsafe behavior prior to being diagnosed and appropriately medicated. The issue to resolve is this. Your W placed herself in places and with people where she was at risk if and when she was a manic. She owns this if she was aware of her medical condition. If she was not, then I do believe that people suffering from mania and not fully in control of their actions based on our own experience. Proper diagnosis, treatment and modification of one's lifestyle to avoid being placed in such situations is key. I think you do have a reason to attempt to forgive your W. Whether you can is another matter.